What's going on? How is everybody doing? We got NFL predictions, NFC version today. We'll get into AFC in probably like a week or something, but I hope you enjoy. Here's some NFC record predictions for 2024. Now, starting with the Cardinals, all around team analysis after the offseason, honestly, they're going in the right direction. They did their biggest losses were wide receivers like Hollywood Brown and Rondale Moore, which isn't great, but they did end up getting the best wide receiver prospect in the draft, potential Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison Jr., but they did get some other guys in the draft that I do like. One of the bigger ones on offense, at least, is Trey Benson. I think that's a great pick for them. Now, the main problem is going to be Kyler staying healthy, which you never know if that's going to be happening, so it's definitely going to be something to take into account here. But I'm still going to put them in at about 4 to 6. I could see them getting 7 wins, as they do have a very tough schedule to start out, but then it eases out towards the end. Now, for the Falcons overall, it's an interesting one. I do really like the hire of Raheem Morris, as he has quite a lot of experience. Some decisions made this offseason are questionable at best, as they spent a lot of money for Kirk Cousins for 4 years, and then drafted a rookie for the next 4 years. They had a huge need at corner, as Jeff Okudah did leave in the offseason. Not the best player, but still, they really needed a corner. They never really got one. Didn't get one in the draft either. Their ceiling is wild card loss. Floor a lot higher than it was previously. Now, if their play on the field had anything to do with their release video for the schedule release, they would easily win the Super Bowl, but unfortunately that's not how this works, and I do think that the Falcons are probably going to be slight improvement, maybe like a game or two at best. A safe bet would probably be like 8 and 9, maybe 9 and 10 because of this weak-ass division. Now, the Carolina Panthers with a brand new head coach. Have you ever heard of his name? Neither have I. Dave Canales. Interesting offseason. Panthers going upwards. But, I mean, their biggest additions from the offseason were players like Deontay Johnson, who was a serviceable starter. Robert Hunt. Damian Lewis as well. Jadeveon Clowney would be sick. DJ Wonnum. And Josie Jewell. I love me some Josie Jewell. Jordan Fuller as well. Very good offseason. Their draft was interesting. Jonathan Brooks and Xavier Legette. Really love them. I think they are going to be very good starters. The rest of the draft wasn't the best. They improved the team slightly. So it's definitely going to be on Bryce Young and the new head coach. Otherwise, they're going to have to find something fast. I honestly do think that Bryce Young is going to improve. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. They're a bit of a mystery, but a bad mystery. And I think 4 to 6 wins is exactly where the Panthers should be. Now, the Chicago Bears are another very interesting team, as their offseason was one of the best I've seen in, honestly, quite a while, as they added Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, which I think is going to be an interesting move. They also got Gerald Everett, which I really, really like that move. And then they also got Kevin Byard. Some of their losses, Justin Fields. Probably easily the worst move this offseason, trading him. In the long run, don't think it's going to pay out for them. They also lost Darnell Mooney, which doesn't really matter. For draft picks, they got Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, which, incredible. Caleb, as I'll get to, it's going to be very, very, very interesting. Rome Odunze, however, I think is pretty much guaranteed to, at some point, become a Pro Bowler, because he has freaking DJ Moore, who's only like 27, by the way, and then an absolute veteran, incredible player in Keenan Allen. And then the rest of the draft, not awful. They drafted a offensive tackle, which probably was needed to an extent. And then in the 4th round, they drafted a punter, Torrey Taylor. I know a lot of people didn't like that, but, hey man, I've been keeping up with my Isaac punts videos, and this guy's going to be pretty freaking special. I'm guessing the Bears just didn't have a great punting situation, which is very important in football field position, one of the leading aspects in success. The whole coaching situation is interesting, as they're keeping Matt Eberflus, which I honestly really like Matt Eberflus. He's heavily defensive-minded, which is why they brought in a new offensive coordinator that has done a lot in the passing game. Not a big run guy. I'm guessing the run game, not going to be great. Not expecting like 1,000 yards from DeAndre Swift. Absolutely not. Even with a rookie quarterback, don't think it's going to be happening. Yeah, I think this could go a lot of different ways, but the Bears, ceiling very high, floor fairly low. Now, looking at the Bears' schedule, it could be an interesting one. They have a fairly decently difficult one, and I think it's going to be pretty tough. It's a great team and an incredible defense. I didn't even mention that before. Matt Eberflus, I think, is the primary reason, but I mean, the Montez Sweat effect is real, let me tell you what. Now, the Dallas Cowgirls, they are all... But after claiming to be all in, they decided to sign Eric Kendricks, who is old and washed, and signed Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, God. Cowgirls, yeah, all in. Yeah, all in this. Anyway, some of the losses include Tony Pollard, Tyrone Motherfluffin Smith, Tyler Motherfluffin Biotage, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler Jr., and Jonathan Hankins. So all of their depth at the defensive line. But they did honestly do a decent job filling in the draft, as they got Tyler Guyton, could work out in the future, and Cooper Beebe to, replace one of the most important places on the team in Tyler Biotage and Tyrone Smith. They didn't draft a running back for whatever reason. As you can tell, they are all in. Yeah, for coaching, they brought in Mike Zimmer to be their brand new defensive coordinator. Who knows how that's going to work out? He was decent for like a year in Minnesota. But this is still quite the talented team. They still got, Micah. They still got the one corner or safety or whatever the hell. Dude, I don't know the Cowboys team because the Cowboys are suck. They are suck. That's what, yeah, I meant to say that. They kind of just got to get 9 wins, but, I mean, they have a very easy schedule. But yeah, record-wise, Cowgirls, don't want to get, 2024 pronouns important, I know. Sorry about that. But I do think 9, maybe 10 wins. But I think, it's possible if Dak's just absolute dog, that they could go maybe like 7 or 6, but I think 9 just because they still have a lot of talent, but they are going in the wrong direction. And if you can't tell, they're all in. Now the Detroit Lions going in the right direction. Good job, Detroit. You done it. You're finally a contender, as they had a mediocre to above average offseason, as I would say. They lost Cam Sutton, they lost Josh Reynolds, they lost Benito Jones, they lost CJ GJ, yes sir, baby, coming back home. But they replaced him very well. Multiple cornerbacks in the draft, as well as in the offseason with, Amik Robinson, Carlton Davis. Also with the offensive line issue, they have an elite offensive line, but losing Jonah Jackson, they replaced him with Kevin Zeitler, as well as they strengthened their defensive line with DJ Reader. For, honestly, one of the better drafts, at least in the early rounds, as they got Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw, 2 DBs, at a need. So yeah, Lions looking very good. They're keeping their coaching staff, as Ben Johnson did not leave. Huge win for them. I think the Lions have potential to go 13, but because their division is getting stronger year by year, I think they might go just 11 and only 11 and whatever, but I think probably 12 wins, maybe 13. I could see them getting 13. I really could, as they are now a heavy hitter contender. Now the Green Bay Packers on the rise once again with a 3rd Hall of Fame quarterback in a row. But honestly, they had a pretty good offseason, as they lost Aaron Jones, lost Jonathan Owens, lost Darnell Savage, but they replaced him with much better in Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. And even the guys like Devondre Campbell, John Runyon, Josh Nijman, they replaced him in the draft with guys like Jordan Morgan, Edgerrin Cooper, and other guys like that. But one of my favorite picks, Javon Bullard, I think is going to be great for the Packers. Packers with an interesting schedule. I do think they're probably going to be around the Cowboys, probably higher than them, if I'm being honest. Expecting playoffs, as they probably should get second in their division, unless if Caleb Williams goes absolute horseshit crazy, or if, the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy go crazy, and you never know. especially with the rookie quarterbacks. But I do think Packers 9, 10 wins, probably more like 10. Now, the Los Angeles Rams is a team that I am very excited for in the future. As, you know, Matthew Stafford not really reviving his career, but reviving the team, especially with Pook going incredible. But the Rams, they had a clear mission to get defensive backs, build the offensive line, and improve the defense, while also adding in, like, Kobe Parkinson to go with the other guys like, you know, Jimmy Garoppolo. But on the defense, Tre'Davious White, Darius Williams, Cameron Curl, which I just love that free agency. Darius Williams coming back to the Rams. Cameron Curl, incredibly underrated with the Commanders. Really like him. And Tre'Davious White, if he can avoid injuries, which he already is on an injury until like halfway through the season, incredible. Again, they continue this with the draft. A clear mission to improve the defense. As only 20th, you know, Aaron Donald and... yeah, no one else, except for a couple of rookies on the defensive line, but we don't talk about them. But yeah, Jared Verse slipped to all the way to 19. And also, Brandon Fisk should also improve defensive line. But they also got Blake Corum to take the load off of Kyron Williams, as he was just getting run into the ground. Then the rest of the draft went fantastical. Cameron Kinchins, Brendan Jackson to improve the defensive line with Tyler Davis. They also got a center, offensive tackle, and a kicker. I think fantastic job by the Rams. For the Rams' record, if I'm being honest, it could be anywhere from 11 to 10. It's going to be between here, I would think, as, you know, they get free wins against the Cardinals. Niners going to be a battle, but I do think they're going to split the series, if I'm being honest. And then Seahawks also probably should get at least one, probably 2 games out of them. But yeah, it's an interesting schedule. Not the most difficult. It starts out semi-difficult. I think Rams 11 wins. Now, the Minnesota Vikings. I am very interested on how this is going to pan out, you know, with J.J. McCarthy and all. But first, in free agency, they obviously let go of just their linebacking core. They had to let go of Danielle Hunter, DJ Wanham, Marcus Davenport, Jordan Hicks, and just even more, along with, you know, KJ Osborne, obviously Kirk. But I think they set themselves up pretty well for the future, replacing all of these guys with younger versions, maybe even better versions. Got Aaron Jones. They also got Sam Darnold, which he honestly might be starting over J.J. McCarthy, which is probably going to be smart. Draft, however, first few rounds, I think they did a very good job. J.J. McCarthy, again, had to go up to get him. I think it's a smart pick. I think it's definitely the smart pick to hopefully sit behind Sam Darnold. Moving on, they got Dallas freaking Turner. Really like that selection. I think it's going to be a fantastic replacement for Danielle Hunter. I think it was a great draft. They drafted even more offensive linemen and a kicker, Will Reichard, who had in college led the FBS all-time in points scored. Vikings are going to be tough. They have potential, but I think the potential is going to be in a year or two. They're going to need some more pieces. This is still a very young team. Now, for the Vikings, record-wise, they start out very tough, so do not be surprised if they even start out, you know, like 0-7. Probably more like 2-5, 1-6, you know, something like that. As I'm thinking probably about 7-8, probably behind these two, because I did say that these two had potential to be up there. So I'm choosing Vikings at 7-8. Now, the New Orleans Saints quietly got above 500 at 9-8 last year, as they were very inconsistent. Defense wasn't the best. Derek Carr, his, you know, mediocre self, and this really was just an incredibly mediocre offseason by the Saints. As, I mean, they did get Chase Young, but who really knows how that's going to go at this point in his career. They did also get guys like Willie Gay, Cedric Wilson, but, you know, they're mid, as they lost mid guys, you know, like Jameis Winston, Malcolm Roach, Zach Bond, Isaac Yaudom had a breakout season, and he's leaving. I don't know. The draft also kept on with the mid, as they didn't really help their defensive issue that much. They did take Kool-Aid McKinstry. Love that pick. I think he's going to be awesome. But in the first round, they went with Talise Fuaga. They did also get Spencer Rattler to replace Jameis Winston as Derek Carr's backup. And by the way, I do actually really like Derek Carr on the Saints. So they're clearly rebuilding, but they're still going to be decent because they still have Chris Olave, who I really like. But Yeah, Saints just so mid and are gonna stay that way. And honestly, the amount of wins they get this season is purely dependent on Derek Carr. But I do think with the Falcons coming a bit better with Kirk Cousins that they're gonna be bottom here. Could see 8, but I think probably below the Vikings. Now, unfortunately for the Giants, their 100th season is going to be awful, as they lost Xavier McKinney, huge loss, Saquon Barkley, but they did get Brian Burns, Devin Singletary, and Isaiah McKenzie, and Jalen Mills, and Drew Lock. So, yeah, can't wait for the guy who's being paid $160 million over 4 years to compete with Drew Lock, and Drew Lock might actually have a chance. The draft was interesting. They're definitely helping out their defensive backs with Tyler Nubin and Andrew Phillips. But as you can see, Darren Waller experiment proving to not be well, as they already drafted his backup, Theo Johnson. Yeah, Giants, Brian Dable easily on the hot seat. Now, the thing is, Giants probably should be a lot worse, but they have a very, very easy schedule. But still, fairly difficult division. Yeah, I'm thinking right about in the middle. I forgot what I said about the Panthers, but I'm thinking probably about 5-ish wins for the Giants, and I almost guarantee I'm 100% accurate. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, my Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that I'm already falling in love with, that I'm already super, super excited for. On the surface, free agency may have not been the best, as we lost Jason Kelsey, Hassan Reddick, DeAndre Swift, Fletcher Cox, Kevin Byard. But, you know, you already know big man Howie Roseman got it for us. You know I love this man so much. As we picked up Saquads, Bryce Huff, also Devontae Parker, Devin White. Like that move, and CJGJ back, baby. Oh my god, I love this man. And also Kenny Pickett. Yeah, that was a bit confusing. And once again, draft teams. NFL. There's 31 teams that could have prevented this, but nope. As, you know, biggest need, defensive backs. First 2 picks. Quinyon Mitchell, as well as Cooper DeJean, but also rest of the draft, incredible. Jalix Hunt, along with Will Shipley, also Anais Smith, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., oh, baby, Johnny Wilson, and more offensive linemen in the last few rounds. Oh my god, I just want to fly to Philadelphia right now and kiss this man all over his face. I love him so much. And it gets even better. It's not only Howie, as we brought in Kellen Moore, also Vic Fangio. And oh my god, I am so excited for this season. And Eagles' schedule, I know a lot of people probably said that the later half of the season is going to be difficult, but we got a lot of teams that I think we can beat even if we don't have that. And then with the chemistry down the road, I think we can beat teams like the Bengals and maybe even the Ravens. I think we have got a chance. And I'm thinking 13 to 14 wins, if I'm being honest. And especially after last year, you know, losing guys like Fletch and Jason, it's time, bro. It's just time. And honestly, I always hype my team up too much, but I think this is where we're gonna end up. I think a lot of people might think of us like this. Probably people might put us like here, but I got faith, okay? Go Birds. Now, the Seattle Sea Dogs is going to be a very interesting team with a completely new coaching staff. Seahawks offense, it's not going to be great. It's really not, if I'm going to be honest. Defense, however, is looking good. They did lose Bobby Wagner, as they did also lose Jordan Brooks, but they did get Jerome Baker. I like that, as well as Tyrell Dodson. Not the best. They did also improve the defensive backfield with Rashawn Jenkins and Kevon Wallace. And they did also get George Fant from the Broncos, I believe, at offensive tackle. But again, offensive line not going to be great. The draft, I do really like the pick of Byron Murphy, but still, I think the defense is going to be very good. Offense, though, not great. Tight end room is going to have a huge hole, as they did lose Will Dissly as well as Kobe Parkinson. Wise, I'm thinking probably below Bears and Falcons, probably about 7 to 8-ish. I'm thinking that's probably pretty realistic, and honestly, I like that. Now, the San Francisco Niners. Yeah, they're such a good team. They do not have a lot of holes, especially on offense. They did lose, I guess, a lot on defense. They lost Eric Armstead, Chase Young, Javon Kinlaw, Cleveland Farrell, Sebastian Joseph Day. All on the defensive line. Not great, but, you know, they still added pieces in free agency like Leonard Floyd, Yetur Gross-Matos, Malik Collins, Jordan Elliott, and Devondre Campbell. Yeah, draft also went good. You know, Niners, not much to improve, so it's not like they went out and got incredible players because they didn't need them. They did get Ricky Pearsall, which I think is a great pick, especially with his hands. If you haven't seen his one-hander, I'm not even going to explain it. It's insane. I'm probably showing the highlight right now. It's insane. Yeah, Niners still elite. Not much has changed. So, yeah. Niners do have a fairly difficult schedule, but they're still in the elite of the elite, as, they can beat the teams that are going to be difficult. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is already being set up to be just another part of the Baker Mayfield cycle, and I'm expecting it to be nothing less, as he should be out of Tampa Bay in 2 years, I'd say. And one of the main reasons to actually prove this, and my reason for it, is it's Baker Mayfield, number one. And also, they did lose Dave Canales, who was pretty important in that. Yeah, they did lose Shaq Barrett, not great. Devin White, not great. Carlton Davis, not good. But as we'll get to right now at the draft, they got Graham Barton to replace him. I do really like that pick. They didn't really do that much, and I'm not going to be impressed by the Buccaneers at any point this year. And they can also suck a fat dick. Now, for the Buccaneers, they have such an easy schedule because of their awful division, but also, they're really not playing very good teams, as it's going to come down to the final week between the Saints and them to see, if the Falcons are trash, it's going to be between them and week 18 to decide it. Buccaneers, I could see them at 9, but all signs, in my opinion, point to down here at 7 and 8-ish. Now, the Washington Commanders, this is a team that I'm going to be so scared of in the future, as we'll get to. Their defense is going to be elite, eventually top 5 in the next few years, in my opinion, if Dan Quinn stays here. But first, free agency, they did lose Curtis Samuel, not great, Kendall Fuller, Cameron Curl, as well as Cody Barton. But they did add Tyler Biotage out of the Cowboys. But also on defense, they got Dorrance Armstrong, Bobby Wagner, Frankie Louvu, Cleveland Farrell, and Jeremy Chin. Just love every single one of those picks. But they also did bring in Austin Eckler, which I feel like a lot of people are down on Austin Eckler. I feel like the NFL has just gotten us to a point where the second a team releases a elite running back, they're washed. They're just known as washed. Yeah, I think Austin Eckler is still good. He's still going to be, at least at this point in his career, a goal line merchant. But now the draft, an elite draft, dude. Commanders just doing a great job here. As, obviously Jaden Daniels, number 1 overall. I think it's a great pick. Obviously, depends. You never really know until you know. But also defensively, they got Jerzon Newton and Mike Sainristil. Just Jerzon Newton, first of all, love him. He's going to be so good. I believe his real name is actually Johnny Newton. But, oh my god, dude. Crazy. Also on defense, I got Jordan McGee, Dominique Hampton, and Javonte Jean-Baptiste. And then they, sprinkle in a few great picks for offense. Ben Sinnott, love that pick, as well as Brandon Coleman, who's probably going to be a starter this year. Not great for your left tackle to be a starter, but whatever. But also Luke McCaffrey, brother of Christian, best running back in the league. But yeah, Commanders, completely new coaching staff, so I do think this is just going to be a new era, as they brought in Dan freaking Quinn, along with, Cliff Kingsbury to run the offense. It's perfect. Yeah, I think Commanders going in the correct direction, absolutely. The Commanders also have a fairly decently easy schedule. They're going to be around the 9 to 8 wins. I'm thinking definitely more here. Probably ahead of Buccaneers. But honestly, I think with such a mystery, I'm going to put them more towards down here. I think right there is pretty perfect. I'll put them ahead of the Sea Dogs. But I think right there is pretty much perfect for them. That is the NFC tier list. I really hope you all enjoyed. This has taken me quite a while. I've gone in-depth. Probably one of my most in-depth videos, at least looking into the rosters and all that. I think this is the most accurate I could get. You never know about the surprises. 7 to 8 category is pretty much just a category of surprises. You never know what's going to happen. But I feel confident about a lot of these, especially up here. That's, interchangeable. That could go down, that could go up. You never know. You never know. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the AFC version in probably like a week. But I hope you enjoyed. See ya.